Hey guys, and we continue on with our NHL offseason preview shows. And today we're going to be talking all about the Buffalo Sabres, taking a look at their upcoming offseason and discuss what they need to do to get back to the playoffs. Because I think it's pretty fair to say when people think about the Buffalo Sabres, they think about the fact that we haven't seen Buffalo in the playoffs for 14 years. If they miss the playoffs again this year, it'll be 15 consecutive seasons not making the playoffs. So I think priority number one, we'll get to it at the end of the show, is make the playoffs this year. But obviously, they can't do that in the offseason, but they can set themselves up to make the playoffs in the regular season. We will start, of course, with the first segment, which is taking a look at the draft picks that the Sabres have available, as well as management. Kevin Adams, Lindy Ruff, both in place, continuing on from last year. So there's no change this offseason for the Buffalo Sabres when it comes to management. I do think that Lindy Ruff should have a bit of a short leash if the Sabres do struggle next year. I think that they need to look, in my opinion, and this is, of course, just my opinion. I'm sure there will be some Sabres fans and people in general that will disagree with me, but I never thought Lindy Ruff was the right fit to bring him back here again. I don't think he's the right fit, but we'll see. Maybe he can finally end the drought. Looking at draft picks, overall, Buffalo has most of their picks this year. They don't have their fourth round pick. They have the Wilds instead and a couple extra seventh round picks. So overall, unless they make some trades, which we'll get to soon, they could be an active team in the trade market towards the draft. So we could see Buffalo add some draft picks. Of course, before we move on to the next segment, as we normally do here at this point, is discuss offer sheet capability. And if you watch the Minnesota Wild preview show, well, it just so happens Buffalo is the same as the Wild when it comes to offer sheet capability. So players that make less than $2.3 million, Buffalo can offer sheet. Any player they can't sign, they cannot offer sheet a player between 2.3 to 4.6 million. So they cannot, they can 4.6 to 7 million. And then they are not able to offer a contract for a player for 7 million up to 11.7. So exact numbers you can find online. But basically, they're limited in who they can offer sheet. They can, of course, offer sheet a player over 11,700,193. So they do have 4 first-round picks in the next 5 drafts, so they are able to go for a RFA and throw way too much money at them if they wanted to do that. But I don't necessarily think that's the right way to go, but we'll see. Taking a look at free agents. So the Buffalo Sabres have approximately 23 million in cap space here for this upcoming offseason. So normally that would be a pretty good amount, and you could go and add some players to your team. The issue, though, here is if you do look at this list, you will notice that a lot of these players are RFAs. Of course, a lot of these players, younger players, everyone is a pretty young player other than James Reimer, the only UFA on this list, who I expect will likely be on a different team. But it's the top 3, Ryan McLeod, Jack Quinn, and JJ Peterka, who are going to command pretty big contracts. Peterka obviously should get the highest contract here. Tyson Kozak, Jacob Bernard, Docker could probably be signed for more cheaper short-term deals. Bowen Byram, he's probably going to be expecting a big payday here as well. Devin Levi, I don't think. I think a short-term bridge deal with him will be fine. And then, as I said, I think Reimer goes off to another team. So the Sabres have to ask themselves, how much is it going to cost for Ryan McLeod, JJ Peterka, and Bowen Byram? Jack Quinn might be a little bit cheaper. Ryan McLeod might be a little bit cheaper. But I'm pretty sure here JJ Peterka and Bowen Byram are going to want big deals. And that's why JJ Peterka and Bowen Byram are both in heavy trade rumors. It's been reported that Buffalo has been floating around Bowen Byram in the trade market to kind of see if there's anybody interested. So Buffalo understands that you have all these RFAs and you only have $23 million in cap space, which looks like a lot, but everybody has to remember. I have brought this up on previous shows. The salary cap is going up a lot. And you're going to hear that a lot over the next few years, because the salary cap I've been pretty stagnant, increasing a little bit here and there, but not a whole lot from year to year. It will be increasing, of course, though, going up $7.5 million this season, $8.5 million next off season, and then $9.5 million for the 2027-2028 season. So basically each year you're 8, 9, and 10 million extra dollars to spend. So that is a lot compared to what we've been used to with the salary cap. So agents know that, players know that. It's already been announced. The next 3 years, the salary cap for the next 3 years. So players are going to want bigger deals. And there's also been some rumors that some players, including JJ Peterka, are not happy with the direction Buffalo has gone in. And I can understand players that have been with his organization for a long time or for multiple years. They're seeing the same story play out. Buffalo either starts okay in the season and then completely falls apart through the middle, or they have a really good start at the beginning of the season, but then again fall apart in the middle, and then every year we see it. Once the Sabres are pretty much mathematically out of it, they go on this big win streak at the end of the season, and they look like a powerhouse Stanley Cup contender. But for some reason, they're not able to consistently play that way the entire year. Now, of course, all teams are going to have losing streaks. Nobody's going 82-0-0, but it's like the Sabres go on like a 7, 8, 9 game losing streak, and then they just never recover from it. Or they have multiple 4 or 5 game losing streaks, and then a win here, and then another 4 game losing streak type thing. So Sabres fans have been through a lot of pain, and I feel you guys. You guys haven't been in the playoffs for a long time, but the Wild, in my case, make the playoffs and just get eliminated in the first round. So you have to ask yourself, what is better in those two situations? Maybe everything will change this offseason. Sabres can make the playoffs, and the Wild can make a deep playoff run, and then Sabres and Wild fans can be happy for a change. But that's my little rant there, or my little tangent. So looking at this list, if I was general manager of the Buffalo Sabres, I would be getting Ryan McLeod signed. I would be getting JJ Peterka signed. I would try to keep the other RFAs depending on what they want. But if Bowen Byram wants this big contract, then you have to move him. And we'll get to the Sabres defense in a little bit, and I'll kind of explain why. Devin Levi, if he wants big money, then I would maybe pump the brakes there, because Obviously, he's had very little NHL experience and shouldn't be trying to command a big long-term deal. We will take a look at the projected lines for the Buffalo Sabres offense, assuming that they do re-sign all of their RFAs. Zach Benson, Josh Norris, and Tage Thompson. On that top line, JJ Peterka, Yuri Kulik, and Jack Quinn. On the second line, Jason Zucker, Ryan McLeod, and Alex Tuck. On the third line, Jordan Greenway, Peyton Krebs, and Sam Lafferty on the fourth line. And I have to say, if this is, and of course, extra players, Noah Osselin, Tyson Kozak, Beck Malmsteen, a bit of an older type guy, probably more of like a physical fourth line guy if he's going to be playing. Osselin, Tyler Kozak, maybe more skilled offensively. But when I look at this forward group, I like it. I like this forward group. You still have a lot of young players. Benson, Peterka, Kulik, Quinn, McLeod, Peyton Krebs, all more younger players. And of course, Osselin and Kozak as well. So you've got younger players that you're hoping are going to take that next step forward. Then you've got guys like Tage Thompson and Zucker and Alex Tuck, Greenway. Greenway is a good fourth line guy. And, looking at that third line of Zucker, McLeod, and Tuck, that's a really good third line. Alex Tuck has been playing on that top line a lot the last few seasons and has obviously had a lot of success. Zucker, if he can stay healthy, he's a great offensive player. So there's really, when you look at this group of forwards, there's a lot to like with the Buffalo Sabres offense, assuming that they stay healthy and assuming that these younger players start to take that next step forward. Buffalo Sabres could have a pretty scary offense when we look at it on paper. Taking a look at UFAs, we'll go back here for a second. Looking here, I don't know where the weak spot would be for the Sabres. Maybe you could say center, but Tage Thompson could play center. If you had to move Josh Norris to the second line, I don't see a whole lot of weaknesses when I look at the forward lines. So when we do look at UFAs, I don't know if the Sabres are really looking for any of these guys. Obviously, assuming that they re-sign all their RFAs, they probably don't have a lot of cap space. And then if they are going to let some RFAs go and not re-sign them, then in that case, you might need a guy. So then you might want to go and look for a guy on this list. Of course, we have the centers. Guys available here. Of course, I do think some of these guys are going to be re-signing with their respective teams, but other guys like Brock Nelson, I expect will be available. I'm assuming Ryan Donato as well, but you never know. We could see him back in Chicago. Great season for them. Maybe they offer him some more money to stay. But some guys available. Top UFA right wingers. Will Patrick Kane go home? Will Patrick Kane go home to Buffalo? That would be nice, I think. But when you look at it, Patrick Kane, if he's going to leave Detroit, if he's going to go off to another team, in my opinion, I don't know if he goes back to Chicago to retire or Chicago. I think he would most likely want to go to a contender. And when you look at contenders, that's not Buffalo. It's just not. They have not shown anything to make anyone think that they're a contender. So I don't know if Patrick Kane goes home, but I think it would be a great addition for Buffalo to bring in Patrick Kane, to have him around all that youth in Buffalo, have that offensive skill, especially on the power play. As I said, Buffalo's offense is pretty strong already, but I think adding Patrick Kane could be that missing piece for Sabres. RFAs, of course, 3 of them on this list. The top restricted free agents are on Buffalo. So JJ Peterka, Ryan McLeod, Bowen Byram. Buffalo's got to focus on those guys. As I said, if they do happen to make a trade with JJ Peterka or Bowen Byram or both, that really would open spots on the team. So I don't really see Buffalo going and offer sheeting anybody. As I said, their offer sheet capability is pretty thin. I think if you're going to offer sheet somebody, it could be between that 4.6 to 7 million. That costs a first and a third round pick. Buffalo could do that, but they can't offer anyone between 7.2 or 7,020,000 up to 11,700,000. So that's where the big RFAs might go. Is you might see some guys in that 7, 8, 9 range get some offer sheets, and I don't know. Obviously, the Sabres would have to, if they did want to do something like that, they would have to reacquire draft picks that they've traded. So that gets pretty complicated for sure. But now we're looking at defensemen. And if the Buffalo Sabres wanted to make some changes, I think this is where we need to see at least an addition. So Rasmus Dahlin and Matthias Samuelsson, the top pair, Bowen Byram, Connor Clifton. The second pair, Owen Power, Jacob Bernard-Docker. That third pair. Ideally, Owen Power should be a first or second pair guy. So if the Sabres do move on from Bowen Byram, I think that opens a spot for Owen Power to move up to that second line. But what I do see here is you've got some skilled offensive defensemen. Buffalo really needs – what I think Buffalo really needs here is a stay-at-home, scrappy, physical, defensive defenseman. A guy who's going to block shots and is just going to be kind of a wall there to help the Buffalo goaltenders. I think, because we've already discussed their offense and what I think about that, they need to improve the defense to help the goaltenders out so that offense can do their job. And I think that's what is lacking here from the Sabres defense. Looking at some of the top defensemen, which we do every show, there could be some potential guys here that Buffalo could look at. I think it's more likely that they would go after some more cheaper defensemen. Obviously, this list is the top defensemen when it comes to points. I don't think the Sabres are necessarily looking for an offensive defenseman. They really shouldn't be, to be honest. So a defensive defenseman most likely will be a bit cheaper, and that's who the Sabres should target, in my opinion. Goaltending. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, starting goaltender, Devin Levi as the backup. And here we do have a little bit of question marks. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen last year, 24, 5 with a 3.2 goals against average and a 887 save percentage. Devin Levi was 2-7 in 9 games with a 4.12 goals against average, 872 save percentage. So Levi did struggle, and that's why the Sabres went and traded for Reimer. And Reimer went 10-8-2 for the Sabres in 22 starts. 2.9 goals against average and a 901 save percentage. So Reimer's numbers were better than Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Devin Levi. The Sabres need both of these young guys. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is not that young anymore. They need Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to have to take that next step and prove that he is a starting goaltender, and then they need Levi to improve from his numbers from last year. I don't know if the Sabres go and get another goaltender. Maybe they re-sign James. Maybe they like what they saw from James Reimer and they give him another go with a cheap deal. It all depends on if the Sabres think that Devin Levi is ready or not. Because if he is going to put up numbers like he did last year, then you can't play him in the NHL. Because you can't have 4 goals a game being given up and expect to win on a nightly basis. So Sabres do have some goaltending questions here. I think, though, like I do for some other teams, that if they do struggle in net, I think that's something they could look at during the season, to look at a goaltending trade. But if I'm wrong, and if management has already decided that Levi's not ready for next year, and they want to add another guy, maybe they don't want to bring back 37-year-old James Reimer. Maybe they go after somebody cheaper, maybe Dan Vladar, or Vitek Vanacek, Anton Forsberg, Alex Lyon. There are some David Riddick. There are some other guys that Buffalo could look at if they did want to go after kind of a backup depth goaltender on this list. And finally, offseason tasks. Figure out a way to make the playoffs. I am sorry, but 14 seasons in a row not making the playoffs is just absolutely awful. First round picks, first overall picks, and you can't get to the playoffs. That is ownership, that is management, and enough is enough. And I'm sure Sabres fans feel the same way, because I'm sure they're tired of hearing about it. I'm sure they are tired of hearing about the playoff drought. So I'm sorry, Sabres fans, for mentioning it as many times as I've had to, but when you look at a preview show for the Buffalo Sabres offseason, how can there be anything else more important than figuring out a way to make the playoffs? And how do you do that? You set yourself up for success by making the right moves in the offseason. Sign/trade their 7 restricted free agents. 7 RFAs is a lot. So the Sabres have a lot of work to do this offseason. And signing all 7 is a little bit unlikely, I think. I do think we could expect some trades for the Sabres this offseason. So they're a team to watch. And then, as I mentioned when we were in the defense category, sign/trade for a defenseman, a physical shot-blocking guy that can help the Sabres' goaltending, which it itself has some question marks. So offensively, I think the Sabres are good. In my opinion, if they do re-sign the RFAs that they have on offense, those young guys should take that next step forward. You've already got some strong offensive guys in place. So it could possibly be an optimistic time for Buffalo fans heading into next season, but we will have to see how the offseason goes, and then we'll discuss when we do the Buffalo Sabres preview show for next year, which will come out with the other shows in September. We'll discuss then whether or not Buffalo did enough, and we'll see at that point. But Sabres fans, and I know there's a few that watch the channel, leave in the comments of the video what you want to see the Sabres do to this lineup, what you think that they need to do to finally end this drought. And if you guys like the video, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and we will see you